Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Better Together. When you know better, you get better. That's what we do here every single day. It is Monday, February 1st, 2021. It's a brand new month. Let's start over, guys. Our quote of the day: winter, a lingering season, is a time to gather golden moments, embark upon a sentimental journey, and enjoy every idle hour. That is from John Boswell. Sounds like somebody in the Graham fam. That sounds like
uncle.
A Graham fam quote, right?
Yeah.
A lingering season, a time to gather golden moments around the Golden Graham family and have slow coffee and embark on a sentimental journey with that.
You mean to
slow
just say
coffee.
Golden Graham, by the way, Maria? Did
Yes.
you see you? Perfect. Golden Grahams.
Oh yeah.
Well done.
Oh man, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to our Heal Squad. Thank you guys for being with us each and every single day. We have a newly upgraded studio we're excited to show off because my boo loves upgrading. Right, honey?
Yes.
So this is Kevin coming to you from Hawaii. Kelsey and I are coming to you from Connecticut. We've got my husband, Mr. Underman, over there in Hawaii.
Normally
Aloha, Kevin.
Normally Mr. Patreon, but
Mr. Patreon, aloha to you.
aloha.
We've got Jeff Graham in a cabin somewhere in Ohio.
Akron.
Akron. Yeah. So we're all in different states. Honey, how is Hawaii?
I'm not feeling Hawaii.
How's Hawaii?
I just
No. Hawaii's good because it's like a miscongeniality. Aloha means hello and goodbye. So you can say aloha and then you can walk out.
listen.
Did you just make do of all of the flowers we've had in this house?
Yes.
I really
If you
love
would
it.
just listen, if you and your audience would tune into Regular Guy Fridays, we go over all of this stuff. But no, these were your mom had a lot of fake flowers all over the house, and I didn't want to put them to waste.
I love
And
it.
so I fastened them to a 1x4 and then put some lighting behind them and tinted the light blue, and that's us.
And then poof, you're in
Yeah.
Hawaii.
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 I wasn't really thinking Hawaii.
I loved
Just
it. The
thinking
second he did it, I was like, oh my
flowers
God,
and
it looks like
color.
Hawaii. I love it.
Maria and I both were like, wait, we want that corner.
I want my ties.
And I was thinking of your mom the whole time I did it.
Oh.
You know, because
Oh.
this is all her flowers. She had everywhere. I don't know. So now they live on forever.
I appreciate that, boo.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't know what you're going to do about the screen that doesn't work next to you. It's supposed to be a logo there. I mean, listen, you did a good job. You did a good job. If you did a great job, the logo would be on the screen.
He did a great job. You did a great
We'll
job,
have it.
Kev.
We'll
We'll
have
fix
it.
the
I'm kidding.
logo.
We'll have it fixed.
He also found my mom, all the posters and everything that, we would be at an event, and if it was a picture of me, my mom would be like, can I have that? Can I have that? And so Kevin grabbed, these are like the old E.T. posters. Are you able to get that shot
no,
over
No.
there?
we'll see it.
It's all a part of the studio. By the way, like this is a whole other, we have some plans for that quadrant
Use
as
your
well.
There's
imagination.
there's a quadrant over there where you see it was the new star showcased presented by Entertainment Tonight with 17 magazine. So 17 teamed up with ET to give you an exclusive look at the hottest new trends and stars. And I was one of them, and Mariah Carey and B2K.
B2K.
Duh.
Do you remember B2K?
Baby, turn around and let me see that sexy body go bump, bump, bump.
No clue. Bump, bump, bump.
That was Omarion. Was before he was a
Yep.
solo singer. He was in
Really?
B2K.
No clue. All right. Well, there you go. So I did this little photo shoot, and I remember being very excited about it. I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, damn, that was some real thick Pantene hair.
You know what we'll do? We should story this after the show. So if you haven't followed the Better Together Instagram and you want to see our shrine to Throwback Maria, we're going to story the studio.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
a good
guys
idea,
can make sure you follow us to
Yep.
see it.
And you also have some tchotchke. You've got your Evie Award that you won from Emerson College.
I was the youngest recipient of the Evie Award, and I was tied with my friend Jeff for Best Newscaster. I was a freshman. That was
Not
Yeah.
Jeff Rossen, though.
no, not Jeff
Okay.
Wilson.
Yeah, youngest in the history of the 75-year plus they've been doing it. You were the only freshman all those years.
And my counselor,
Wow.
who was in charge of EIV News, has then since told me that he was so impressed with me because I was the only one who dressed for success. So when I knew I got accepted to be an EIV newscaster, which was basically the college news program that, went through the, cafeteria and wherever else you could get it. I would deliver the school news, but I remember going to Filene's basement in Downtown Crossing in Boston, and I got myself some suits, like Liz Claiborne suits.
Hey.
And then I wore them and looked super professional, and everybody else was like in sweats and t-shirts and whatever. And I was like so all over it. And he remembered that. And he's like, I knew when I met you.
That's
and I was like,
awesome.
yep.
And you know what? That was a choice that you made. And when you look back, was it really that big of an investment? But I see it today too. But yeah, come on. Like that's a choice. It's already going to be hard enough. The odds are going to be stacked against you. Then most, like 80% of the people that are going into this are going to fight dirty. And you're the one who doesn't want to do that. So you have to make those smart choices and lean in. And to me, like, was that really a rocket science choice? Like, look back at that.
No, it helped me kind of like play the part, right? So
Right.
I had a wicked bad accent back then. So I would have said, I had to play the Pat. So also it helped me get out of my Boston accent and into my, professional newscaster accent. And so the more I dressed the part, the more I spoke the part. And that helped me enunciate better and get better with all of my, diction, which was pretty cool.
It's good advice though, because like I think when you think about big opportunities or interviews or the chance to meet someone, take the time to get ready. I mean, Kevin, as a director, you can speak to the power of how much costumes help actors get into their character.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that in your own life. Like, even if it's just a Zoom call, take that extra minute, because even if it's something the person won't notice, it will give you more confidence and you will perform better in that situation.
And by the way, it's just good habits to get into. And okay, you take a chance that they don't notice, but what if they do? Then that's the one extra leg you have up on the next person, and it's an honest way of competing. And I see it all the time. Like, come on. Even with auditions, when I would be directing, and these people would show up, they wouldn't know the lines, they'd just be reading off the paper. I'm like, are you kidding me? Get out of here. I don't care. Like, then you get that person who just has it down, and maybe they're not right for the role, but you go, you know what? No, I'm going to find something else for you. Yeah, and these are just choices, and and it doesn't cost a lot of time and a lot of money, but people, and I think, I don't want to knock parent, middle class, or, like upbringing, but, we weren't taught this stuff. I'm not blaming my parents. My God, I am so grateful. I had to say to my mom, she listens to the show. She's like, but,
I was lucky I had done pageants, because I feel like,
there you go.
First of all, my parents always taught me to like look my best. I feel like no matter how little money we had,
The Greeks are just amazing.
we always got
guys.
at Christmas, like I had a new dress, whether my mom had to make it or they were able to buy it. I had a new dress to go to church and look like sharp.
Wow.
And that was really important to them. And then I feel like through the pageants, I learned that presentation meant so much, right? You're not going to win if you come in looking like a slob. So presentation was really important. And the interview portion of the pageants I thought was the most important, because I got to know you. So yes, I think everything else is considered, but the interview portion is a huge part of it. So I made sure Liz Claiborne was my go-to, man. And I used to do modeling in the store for them, where I would be mannequin modeling. So I'd be the frozen girl in Chestnut Hill Mall. Yeah, remember we almost went to the Chestnut Hill Mall after we saw Adam Franklin?
Yeah.
And
I didn't even
Alana.
know that that was a thing.
Oh, it was a thing. I got paid $20 an hour from the Barbizon Modeling Agency, and I was like thinking I was winning. That was a lot of money back then.
That's awesome.
And so $20 an hour, if I did a 5-6 hour shift, I was winning.
By the way, you're not like scrubbing pots and pans.
Hey,
you know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, I did fragrance spritzing.
But I
did all of it. I was like so excited to make money in college, but I would sit in the stores and mannequin model, and people would try to talk to me, and I'd be like,
That's amazing.
And Maria, you didn't have to wear names.
no.
You know what I mean? I think that's important too.
Yeah, well, I got all those things at Filene's basement and
Right.
stuff, but I remember knowing that, like, for my pageant, I had to get like the right suit, and so Liz Claiborne is where I would go to get my suit. And
But yeah, you learn that way.
Yeah, you got it. Presentation means everything.
I will tell you guys, so when I was head writer at MTV and Jenny McCarthy was leaving, we were interviewing other people to replace her. And I don't want to like name drop the people that were coming in, but I couldn't believe a couple of supermodels came in like they just rolled out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just like, do you want the job? You know, and then Carmen Electra came in looking like Wonder Woman, you know, head to toe, accessories, everything. And you're like, that's someone who wants to be here, who's going to work hard, wants the job, wants to impress us, you know. But like there were bigger names, and we were like, no, go.
Well, and I want to echo that, Kev. I worked with you for years at AfterBuzz, and you worked with so much talent over there. And to your credit, there may have been some stereotypically more beautiful men or women in the room that you would think maybe would draw your eye immediately, but you always looked for the most highly presentable, well-kept, impressive person in terms of how they presented themselves.
Yeah.
And so even in this business, which I think tends to overvalue, quote, looks, Kevin, to your credit, you were always looking for the person who looked the sharpest, because it says so much about what they're going to do.
And you know what else, guys? It's putting the thought into it, and this is now getting into hosting and not necessarily just a general job thing, but everyone has different personalities. So, you know, for Maria, you would have a business suit or whatever, like that was you. But then if you were going to be someone who was just crazy about comic books, well then, if that's like, if it's the geek look with the horn rim glasses, well, let's get some red horn rim glasses. Let's get some like red, you know, accessories in your hair that match those glasses. Like, you know what I mean? There's a way to do any of those looks that becomes your signature look that makes you go, you know what? This person has it together. I got my eye on you.
You know what? Kevin actually has always been like that, because when I got my first interview for Channel 1 News, so here I am, I'm in, you know, Medford, Massachusetts. I meet Kevin. I make this movie with him. And my dad was pissed that I was dating Kevin and I wasn't able to go back to college. And I was like, oh, shit. And it was a really bad time. And someone who had worked on the film went to PA at Channel 1, and he was like, hey, they're looking for new hosts. This would be perfect for you. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be behind the scenes. I'm producing movies. That's what I'm going to do now. I love it. And Kevin's like, no, you're supposed to be in front of the camera. We're applying for this job. And so he helped me put a reel together, and then he took me to Forever 21 to shop for my outfit for my interview, because I was going to interview with this producer from Channel 1 named Andy Merlis in Central Park in New York. And so Kevin went in, and the girl that was in there helping us, he's like, I need her to look like MTV meets CNN. Yeah. Which was so brilliant at the time, because you had just learned what Channel 1 was. You didn't even know before then, but really that's what it was. It was like MTV meets CNN. It was CNN for kids, like for young high schoolers and junior high schoolers that were going to get the news, but told in their vernacular in a younger way, in a way where you're not assuming somebody knows something. That's the thing that my mom loved about watching Channel 1. You know, when you watch the regular news, they assume you understand what the Israeli-Palestinian conflict was. You assume that people know, you know, the history behind things, but we would give quick context so you understood the story and you weren't lost and not interested. It was really cool.
It was a very
Channel
special.
1 was amazing.
Yeah, it really was.
But we went in, and I'll never forget, Kevin micromanaged my outfits and had my whole thing down. Then we did some photo shoots because I had just lost 40 pounds.
And the girl was very helpful, and that was the other thing, too. If you're not really good with style, and we talked about this in your first book, The Every Girl Guide to Life, but this one girl was like, I go, I don't know if this makes sense. MTV meets, and I think I said Dateline. And she goes,
yeah, maybe it was
And
Dateline.
she said, no, that actually does make sense. And she was great. And okay, what about this?
Yeah,
what
so
about
we did
that?
like little khaki, like three-quarter pants, but with an orange fuzzy sweater. So it looked really cute, and a hat. And then I had like, you know, platform espadrilles with these colorful pants that matched the orange top. So I had like all different options.
And but the girl was like our stylist.
Yeah.
So again, I want to say you don't need a me or you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have an amazing sense of style. But if you don't, you know, you find the Kelsey in that store or the Jeff who's positive and happy and loves their job, and they're there. And the girl did. She was great.
And then do you know why I got the job? Kelsey, are you curious?
I'm so curious.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like
sitting here. I'm like, she's so busy pushing buttons. She doesn't have time for me. So Kelsey, the way I got the job. So we were in Central Park and we were talking. And one of the biggest things I think they told me later that they were most impressed with is that I had just produced a 35 millimeter feature film at the time at 19, which was a big deal. And so that was one. But then we're in Central Park and I was like, oh my God, a squirrel. I'm like, I love squirrels. I talk to them all the time. And you know, the Boston Public Gardens. And the producer just looked at me and he's like a hardcore New Yorker. And he's like, what? And so I got the squirrel to come over and like hang out with us. And he's like,
God.
Let's not tell anybody about the squirrel part, okay? But of course, that was like what kind of like intrigued him the most later, I think. Is that
No, and they also said that you brought style to them, and that's what they were looking for. They were looking for that kind of
I don't remember
style.
that part. I just remember
The
that.
squirrel thing is just such an on-brand move for you.
So Maria.
I've always joked that like you sort of remind me of like especially when you're in Connecticut, like the Disney princess who goes out and talks to the woodland creatures.
Yes.
And it cracks me up because
Wow.
I think what people don't always realize about you is like, obviously you're this very glamorous TV host, but you're kind of weird. I hope that's okay for me to say.
Yeah, I am. I am. I talk to
And,
snakes and
like,
they cooperate with me. Yeah.
She
Yeah,
laughed for 5 minutes at a fart scene in a movie last night.
In a very dark movie,
Kevin
too.
and I were both like, come on, Maria. Come
The
on.
best.
So we were watching the Priyanka Chopra movie. What was the movie called?
White
The White
Tiger.
Tiger.
The White Tiger. Did you see that yet, Jeff?
Jeff, great
I'm
movie.
watching it tonight.
In
I can't wait.
advance for her
Jeff, you're going to
interview.
really enjoy it.
So
I
guys,
know, it looks amazing.
spoiler alert, Priyanka Chopra is going to be on the show. And so we were doing part of our homework and we watched the movie that she was in called White Tiger. And yes, I am like a 10-year-old boy. I think fart jokes are so friggin' funny. So he farted in the movie and I'm crying laughing and I can't be stopped either. Like once you do a fart joke, it's going to carry over into like multiple scenes. I mean, people could be murdered, death, all kinds of crazy things are happening. And I'm like,
Kevin's face right now.
and so, yeah, I am weird. I am, but I talk to animals. I always have. And I think, you know, when, you know, you are lonely, I don't know. I felt very lonely growing up, I
Well, you
think.
didn't speak the language. I am heartbroken when I hear. I wouldn't know how. That was hard for me just to have to leave my mom at 4 to go to school. I went really young, and I remember how like it was anxiety and
Oh, yeah, me too.
right. And so for you, Maria, to go in and not speak the language, I
Yeah.
always felt so bad for those kids.
Guys, I'm telling you, the worst moment is when you have to go number 2 and you don't know how to tell the teacher you need
Oh,
help.
no.
I'll never forget. It's like really embedded in there where I was like,
Yeah.
"Ugh." You know, and like they would put me on the piano. I have pictures on the piano because I didn't know how to like communicate. So they would just like, oh, put her on the piano. The poor girl let her like just play.
Wow.
But
You know what, though? Just quickly, I think that's what makes you a good interviewer. I think you can tell some of the people that are big in Hollywood who kind of came up with a lot of help because they're not in touch with people.
Right.
And one thing I love is when you're talking to people, you're talking to them like they're people because you have a very deep understanding and empathy for what it's like to face challenges. And I will say, I'm not going to mention any names, but sometimes when you're watching like glamorous Hollywood people interview others, you can tell they've never really had the experiences that actually qualify them to give a good interview. So I think
So
that's really
true.
important.
ooh, interesting, Jeff.
What an astute. What does Jeff say?
What a sharp
What
observation.
a sharp observation,
observation.
Jeff.
It's true though.
Yeah.
It is true.
Yeah,
don't know.
I think I mean I've always talked to animals. My bird, my little parakeet, Pee-Pee, which I was later tortured for in school because I didn't know his name meant Pee-Pee, like you know. So yeah, honey, I was murdered for that one.
I just hate hearing
Kevin
these
can't hear
stories.
this stuff.
Oh, it makes me
But
feel so
Pee-Pee
bad.
knew all my problems. I would literally cry to him all the time.
Pee-pee.
Yeah. So,
Amazing.
but yeah, I think one of my aunts recently was visiting here and she was talking about how she saw the snake videos from this summer.
Oh, yeah. That
And I was like, can you believe the snake cooperated with me? And then he let me pat him and say, you know, goodbye. We had like a whole moment.
It's true.
It was like crazy.
That's you.
That's you.
And listen, I'll tell you, we've had some really intense moments here with my mom. You know, I think, did I talk the other day about how my mom, we've been having, we don't know if there's like a kidney situation or what's happening right now, but the energy work I did on her.
We talked about it on Patreon, and I think you should tease it and tell
Okay.
everyone to go listen.
So guys, I won't bore you in this episode, but
It's not boring.
It's
I
not
did,
boring. Yeah.
I did Listen, Joe Dispenza healed his entire back with his mind, reconstructing every part of his spine. And the book is called You Are the Placebo. It is fascinating. And he's been on the show. We reran it like a week or two ago. So look up Joe Dispenza. We can link to it in this episode as well. But I was getting realigned with all of the teachings and all of the things that I know. And sometimes when you're caretaking and you're under a lot of pressure, you get really tired. And so I've gone through those moments, of course, where I'm tired. But the other day I was like, no, I'm not giving up. Like, we're going to do some energy work. And I did some energy work on her and was able to get her to release the bladder. And then I told the caretaker, I said, you should try it. And so I tell the whole story where I now showed her that she could do it. You, by the way, listening right now, can do it too. There's no magic behind it. It's just intent and will and trying. And so I kind of map out exactly how we did it in the Patreon episode. If you haven't joined us on Patreon, now is a great time. We also have an amazing heart chakra opening event workshop with Cindy Dale for Valentine's Day. We're going to be sending out invites probably this week. And it'll be next week.
Yep, the 10th.
The 10th. So along with the ad-free shows and along with the extra shows on Patreon where we get to kind of go a little deeper, you also get these workshops. So for $10 a month, you help support us as we're trying to keep this show afloat, but also you get access, exclusive access to these incredible guests that we have on the show and these incredible workshops and the library of them. So if you join now, you're still going to get the ones that we did the last couple months. So where we do like Reiki sessions and all kinds of different workshops. So anyhow, I detail exactly how I did it in that episode that just aired 2 days ago or 3 days ago.
Saturday.
But I did it again, Jeff. So again, we were having a problem. And this time I filmed it because I was like, no one's going to believe me. Like, there's a part of the teaching of this that you just have to show because our minds can be so limited and we don't know what's possible unless we see it, right? They always say, if you can see it, you can be it. Well, if you see it, you can do it. So I filmed it and I was getting a little like frustrated. It was like an 11-minute process, which in the grand scheme of things, to get someone to do something like this is not a lot. But I moved on to the bladder points in her foot and both of her feet actually, and did the reflexology there, and then whoosh, on camera. It was unbelievable. So we'll share that at some point with everybody, but you can listen to it on the Patreon episode so you can see no matter what it is, we have powers inside of us that we don't even access. And Joe Dispenza is a great teacher for that, but also you can be doing trial and error with things like that, right? So now I'm like focusing on melting the tumor and I'm doing all these other things, and those don't have instant results, and I'm going to have to be really consistent with it, which is also challenging, but it does work. And I think it's wild to see our caregiver kind of just see for herself where she would never ever have thought of this. I was like, you would never have done this, right? She's like, no, I never would have even thought of it.
And for any of you guys who are listening who aren't in the Patreon and think you're in that category of I'm not the person who can do this or would do this, I literally urge you to just get a subscription, even if it's just for this month, to try the Patreon. This is a great month to join because this most recent episode, I left it feeling inspired. And I feel like of this group, I may be the most skeptical around some of this stuff. I'm open-minded, but it was amazing. The story was incredible, and you will leave this episode feeling like a superhero. So try it. Try Patreon just for this episode at least. It's the $10 tier. And then, of course, you'll get the heart chakra in a week, but it's a great time to join.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I also will say, so as that day I was opening my mind, I said, okay, so this is possible. Why can't a miracle be possible? And I've been talking about that for a while, right? And at the risk of looking stupid, I don't care. I'm going to continue to believe that she is a miracle, has been a miracle, and will continue to be a miracle. So one of the things that happened, Tony Robbins had given me the name of this doctor in India who's curing people with glioblastoma. And he said, I reached out to him, and they're having success with this SMPF electromagnetic therapy or something. And, you can only do it in India. So as I'm on the phone, Kevin's looking on, for flights next to me. And we're kind of hatching our plan. And then I said, I prayed that night. I said, God, show me if we're, we really can do this. And then the next day she wasn't doing well. And I was like, oh, shit. I don't think India's in the cards. My friend Rachel was like, well, why don't you see if they can send the treatment here, or whatever the machine is? I'm like, no, you don't understand. You can't just do that. Now, here's me assuming, by the way. And normally I don't do that because I hate assuming. But I'm also tired. So another day goes by, and my other best friend, Alyssa, said, Maria, why aren't you just asking the guy if you can just ship it here? And I said, okay, now this is the second time someone said that. I said, all right, I have to email him. So I emailed him. And as that whole day, I was like educating everyone. My dad's getting so upset and so sad, and everyone's getting sad. And I'm like, we have to keep our minds on possibility. I get an email from him, and he's like, oh, yeah, we can ship it. And I'm like, what? So it's like this MRI-like machine, but it's very light apparently. And he's like, well, since we're going to be doing it for her, let's find other patients that would need it. So I'll be obviously reaching out to my network of patients that I've been coaching and helping to see if they would want to do it. And I have a call to kind of look into it even more. I'm reading all the literature and trying to figure it out. And, all these things have to happen at lightning speed because of the situation. Mm-hmm. So I'm learning and trying to accelerate getting it at the same time, because I'm hoping that this is 100% like the right thing to do. But at the same time, I'm doing the research and, accelerating the how do we get this thing here program. But those are the kind of things that happen when your mind is in possibility. And not just in the, because I don't think I'm in denial. Do you think I'm in denial, honey?
Well, I think maybe before a little bit,
What do you mean before?
Well, like about 6 months ago, I could see things maybe you guys weren't seeing, and I felt like we were in decline. And that's when I said, listen, comfortable, safe, happy, rather than pushing her where she doesn't want to be pushed, because at the very least we know that if it's going to be the end, then she'll be comfortable, safe, and happy. And then I think when you came back out to LA, you saw that, oh boy, like this. So I think now I think you've been great, because where your dad and I are a little defeated, a little bit giving up, you're the one going no, and everything you're doing I just want everyone to know, your mother's not suffering, she's not in pain, and what you're trying to do is not making her be in more pain. And you've communicated with her, do you want to keep going? And she says yes. So what do you do with that? Mm-hmm. So no, I don't. I think before, yeah, a little bit, but that's the state. Those are all the stages of death that.
Well, that's what I had said before.
Denial, bothering.
I couldn't see through the forest. I needed some time apart to kind of look, because I was trying to keep pushing her to maintain her ability to walk when she didn't want to walk anymore. Yeah. And the tumor was affecting the motivation part of her brain. So that's where we did that whole episode on, like, it's their journey, not yours. Mm-hmm. And you have to meet them where they are and where they want to be and what they want to do. It's not about what you want all the time. Right. So, yeah, but I think, like I said, at the risk of looking stupid, I'm going to keep on trying, because there's nothing good that's going to come out of me being depressed right now.
It's always like lean into it and work.
That's it. And keep trying.
And so what you and your mom are both doing, I don't know how it will affect her. I have a funny feeling it's going to help tens of thousands of people with the treatment that you're going to find and shed light on. And so I know it's something good is going to come out of it. I don't know what it is, but something good's going to happen if you keep digging.
Well,
and keep leaning into it,
I also think, like, nobody talks about kind of caregiving in the public eye. I've not heard a lot of people talking about it. So I feel like a lot of our listeners and a lot of the people on Instagram are really responding to it, because it's kind of such a lonely journey for everybody.
So hard.
And to me, being limitless in the possibilities in our minds and expanding what we believe can be, and if we're people who believe in laws of attraction and Esther Hicks and all of that, like, I want to attract more miracles. I don't want to attract what everyone around is kind of looking and assuming. We don't know anything. Do you know how many times my mom is kicked out in the last few months? In the last few months, every time people think that she's done or whatever they think in their mind, she kicks out. Sometimes it's just with a few pancakes. Other times it's with pizza the other night. And we don't know. We don't know if it's the COVID. If
We've got the best doctors in the world, Maria, in the world, and they don't know.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you.
And so why would I assume the worst? Right? Why wouldn't I think? And so I was negotiating with God the other day, Jeff. I was like, okay, listen, we have an amazing opportunity here. I was like, we can show the world what's possible when you think like this. Now, I don't know what your plan is. And if your plan is something different, then I'm going to ride with that plan and I'm going to do my best. But I think we can show people that we're capable of so much more. And I'm willing to do what I can on my side to show that. And even if it's just going to make our journey as a caregiver, as a daughter, as a friend, or as a family member easier, then that is worth it, because they wouldn't want us suffering right now. And me believing the worst isn't going to help anybody. It's not going to help me find solutions for my mom, because if I had acted like that in the beginning, we wouldn't be here right now. So wherever you are in your journey, keep believing. It's imperative for your own sanity, your mental health, and for the success of the person that you're trying to help.
I think that's beautiful. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm going to miss these conversations so much. But that's just such a beautiful perspective, Maria. And the truth is, for those of you guys who are suffering right now, what a beautiful chance to get closer to God. I mean, like, that is the one beautiful thing with tragedy, is it moves our souls closer to God.
Yeah.
And Maria, I just think that's really, really beautiful.
Thanks, Jeff.
Sorry. I don't know what's going on.
No, Jeff, I feel like you do, and obviously, yeah.
I just believe so much, and I feel like I have such a great connection.
Can we say this, though, listen, just people who don't believe in God, let's at least, I think you have to cop that there's a power to the universe, and there's a power to energy. And, so all of this stuff is just great energy that's going into somebody, whether it's Reiki or what you're talking about, Maria, and it really does work. And if you think, whether it's, like I said, the universe, or it's metaphysical, which is universe, I guess, or God,
It's
and
what life's about, though. It's that work. It's just really, I interrupted you, Kev, but it's
no, it's okay, Jeff. I think there's going to be it's so important to have this conversation, because first of all, you're right, Maria, we don't talk about caretaking, and yet there's so many forgotten caretakers out there who've made it their lives. Like, we keep getting more DMs. I've been taking care of my parents my whole life. It was like, oh my God, number one. Number two, with COVID, more people being sick, but then also the financial ramifications. More young people are moving home. So you are going to be confronted with this. And but I encourage your generation, Kelsey and Jeff, you've had a lot given to you, more than any other generation, and no matter what you're being brainwashed to think, you have been. You've had iPhones, computers, but this is your chance kind of to give back. And do your duty, I think. I've always said that to Maria. Maria and I always believe that at some point you late 20s, early 30s, you start going, you know what? I'm kind of the parent now. And that's okay. And it's now, these people did everything for me, and now I can do for them. There's going to be more of it, Maria, now. There's going to be a lot more. I will say,
I'm reading all the messages. I may not be able to get back right now because of everything that's happening, but I am reading all of them, and they're so beautiful, and I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful for everyone sharing their journey. And I think that's what the Heal Squad's all about. So,
Maria, are you going to talk about Tony on this?
What about it?
Tony Robbins? You just blew me away with some of the stuff that you said on there. I've never heard it. I don't know if it's like familiar to your show. I just thought it very powerful words, because we've heard a lot because of Tony's. You spoke at the Tony Robbins. What when was it, Maria?
So it was his challenge, his most recent challenge, and one of the things that you really loved was what Patty Penn taught me. So Patty Penn has been an amazing source of strength and support for me through this journey with my parents and COVID. And if you become a Patreon member, you will get her Reiki healing session that we did together. We did a tapping session, actually.
She is an underrated force.
She is.
I mean, you guys have a lot of popular people on
amazing.
this with like huge followings, and they're all great. But that woman is
Patty's on another
Yeah, she
level
is.
of
Phenomenal.
like tapped in, brilliant, and just amazing. So she said to me, one of the last conversations we had before I came out, she said, trauma can be your fuel, basically. All right, this is my notes that I took. And she said, she asked me a question. She said, if you hadn't had those traumas at such a young age, would you have activated as quickly as you did? Now,
activated in what sense, Maria?
now, let me get there.
Okay.
So I was on TV by the time I was 22. I was a millionaire by 23, right? And so I said instantly, I said, absolutely not. Because I had such a hunger to get the frig out of Dodge that...
Because Dodge was traumatic.
Dodge was traumatic. And so I have to thank the person who helped create all those traumas, because without their traumas, I would not have activated so fast. And that's the other part that I've always said about, like, anytime I left a job. So I was obviously destined to be here, right? That was just a path to help me get to here, and a path to help build me, and it had served its purpose. But I was continuously pushed out and pushed out and pushed out of the nest, because if it was nice there, I would have stayed.
Right.
And because it wasn't, I kept having to grow, and it sucked and it hurt and it was painful. So that's why I always say, like, pain can be your greatest teacher, and go for the journey. Like, life, there's a plan for you, and life is taking you somewhere. Just go with it. And don't be so hung up on just go with the flow.
So there's two separate things, Maria, going on. Like, the first part is the pain, which also I've heard from therapists that, when you go through a lot of pain and a lot of traumas, it makes you extra sensitive to. So let's say all the if there were wrongdoings done to you, and I believe there were, you were able to see that in other people. Like so even as a reporter, you were able to develop this amazing sense of evil or bad, or right.
Oh, yeah.
But that came from that gift. And then secondly, what so that was wonderful that you said that, the trauma being your fuel. But when we looked at your career, and I know you were speaking to all like 1 million people at his seminar, we were looking at, up till 22, 23, when you were just like blinders on, and I got to do this, I got to get out of here, I got to make this happen. You weren't afraid. You weren't overthinking anything.
Nope.
You was like, yep, do it. Okay. And when I was like, Maria, done. I mean, it was when I met Maria.
Nothing anybody said mattered in terms of, like,
She
if
was
they
like,
were,
okay, good.
if they said something like, I had people be like, oh, she's got a fat ass, oh, this or that. I'm like, whatever.
She just was like, yeah,
Okay.
you weren't even like you were loosey-goosey, whatever. You were just like, you were just like a bull going forward. Didn't want to hurt anybody, but you were, nothing was going to stop you. And but it really was positive, just like you weren't second guessing, overthinking. And I see that in a lot of people. I see that a lot in middle class. I see that a lot in, even more so in women, where they're so afraid. And I understand, but you were just, no, I'll do it. All right, I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it. All right, what do you want me to do? You want me to wrestle? Okay. You want me to sing? Okay, I'll sing. And then what happened was, and I think this is why I think a lot of people related to you on the Tony Robbins thing, is that started getting chipped away. Because I think when we're all young, we have that, right, with youth. It's like,
you can handle a lot.
The world's your oyster. It's like, let's,
But then they beat you down enough.
We'll talk
beat
about
you
that,
down
Maria.
enough, beat you down enough, and then all of a sudden, you're a shell of who you were, and you're just trying to hang on, and you know, I told them that Tony's business mastery class last summer, really, there was a big moment in there where he was having an intervention with a woman, and you could just tell she was burnt out, she was exhausted. And he said, your warrior is still in there. She's in there. You can pull her out. And I remember being like, oh my God, yes, I was a warrior. And she's still in there. She's just down there tired and dusty. We got to like bring her out and clean her up, Windex the shit out of her and shine her up.
How many of your fans, Maria, are dealing with jealous coworkers, jealous siblings, you know, or just, you know, like you're the one working really hard and trying really hard.
Or COVID now. Everything it gets to you.
It gets to you.
Yeah.
You're a toxic environment, or you're being bullied, you know, and it just starts to chip away. And remember, guys, that's, if you have enemies that are doing it to you, you're giving them what they want. When you start like covering up, when you start rolling over, when you start dimming your light, when you start going, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm too tired,
and I did it,
they win.
Yep, I let people win for sure too. But at the same time, I knew I needed more tools to cope, and that's the thing that I feel like a lot of us don't recognize when we're getting beaten down, and when we are over exhausted, and just our spirit is just crushed. That's when you need to reach out and gather tools so that you can figure out how to handle things better. And I think, especially when you come from like dysfunctional systems, you know, your childhood patterns are only going to repeat in the workplace. And until you identify those, it's going to continue to be a problem. But also, you didn't have the tools to deal with them then, right? And so now you need those tools. And that's why I started going to UPW's Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within events in 2014, because I was burnt, exhausted, and in dire need of tools. Grabbed some of those tools, held on to them tight, and started applying them.
Yeah.
And it made a difference.
I was just going to say, though, too, you had someone who pushed you. And I think that that's huge, because I think for so many people, they don't want to acknowledge, or they don't even see like, where do I get tools? Do I need tools? This is a problem? I don't know. So you had Derek, who was like, hey, you should go to this. And I think that that's huge, because that's what I was thinking when I was listening to you the other day and I was writing it down. I was like, how do you know what tools to get? How do you know what seminars to take? How do you know who to even, like, how do you start?
I mean, Tony, you know, Tony's answer is like, he laughs. He's like, it's all out there for free.
Yeah.
Everything today is available.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine 15, 20 years ago it wasn't. Lucky you just got his tapes. But there's so much. I mean, this show, I think, provides.
A million %.
Better Together provides a lot of the tools.
Yeah.
And nice for me.
Right? Me too.
Yeah.
No, you know, and I think that that's awesome. And that's why I'm like, this show is everything, because I think a lot of times, Jeff and I have talked about this a lot of times people think it's work, right? And it is work, but like, that's why our show is so special, because it's work, but it's also fun. And it's like, you're learning and you're getting a mix of it all. It doesn't need to be this like laborious, like, oh, I'm working on myself, I'm getting these tools, I'm, you know. So I don't know, I really loved listening to you.
Well, I feel like in this, you know, in this daily experience, you're going to get a nugget or two a day that you can like put into your life and have it make an impact. And we're hearing from everyone. And by the way, thank you for the beautiful reviews on Apple Podcasts. If you haven't left one yet, please do. We'll be sharing some of them today. But also, it really lets us know we're doing what's serving you, and that we're here and we're making a difference. And we're so grateful for that. I think the tools can be acquired, whether it's self-help books or seminars like Tony's or being here every single day, because I'm gathering them from everywhere and I'm bringing them in for you.
That's the idea, to aggregate them all.
And it's so important that once you have the tools, you have to keep applying them in those moments. So like having a little notebook where they all are kind of existing, your little breakthroughs, your little aha moments, little things you want to remember. Like one of mine was, life is happening for you, not to you. We talk about it on the show all the time.
And your trauma is your fuel.
What? I built that muscle so strong that anytime life hits, I'm like, how is life happening for me, not to me? Even in the worst moments, right? I'm looking at my mom and I'm like, oh my God, this is so sad. This is so sad. I'm like, okay, but I'm learning so much. And I'm going to figure out another way. And then I'm going to figure out another way. And I'm going to be able to help people. Like, I'm trying to make something out of everything.
And it's helping. I'm watching. I don't want to make you feel bad. It's helping with the mourning process too, because rather than just being there and bawling your eyes out, which we've both been doing. We have our moments in your dad. You're doing something constructive with that. Like, okay, you know what? Like, and you're learning. So, yeah, I think the trauma is your fuel. I mean, that one really helped me a lot. And starting to, and it's also helped me if you have people have problems with people who've wronged you and you carry anger like I do. Me,
Say thank you.
Crazy old Italian.
Thank you.
But yeah,
it's hard to do it.
But the older I'm getting, the more I'm so grateful to them, because I wouldn't have what I have if it didn't go that way.
Even though you lost so much.
Yeah, even though.
What you gained is better.
I have a friend who he's met the love of his life now. And he wouldn't have met her if the wife did not absolutely destroy him, take everything from him.
Oh my God, horrible.
Right? But, he was like me. He never would have quit. He never would have given up. He's just not a quitter. So he would have stayed in that really bad relationship with the kids or whatever. And I will tell you, and now, he's healthy and he's got this amazing new partner. And they've been together now for a few years, and I keep reminding them when they still they're still in that phase where they're angry still, and I'm like, guys, do you understand? You wouldn't have met. It would never happen. Okay,
Yep.
So and I think that helps you get.
We gotta focus on the good.
Anger. Yeah.
Well, Tony taught me that too. Focus equals feeling. What you focus on is what you're going to feel. So choose something good. Yeah. Why would you intentionally torture and toxin yourself up?
It's just hard if it's habit. That's the thing. It's habit, and it's I know I'm guilty of it. So it's tough for us, but consciously our brain.
So then my favorite word is shift.
Shift. Yeah. Choose again. Right.
Shift, or Gabby Bernstein, the choose again method. You have a bad thought, forgive yourself, choose a new thought. I do have to say we forgot Good News Monday.
We got it on there.
So
good news.
It's Good News Movement Monday. So let's get to that because we also have our Dunkin' break.
That's right.
And then we'll come back and wrap this whole thing out.
Excuse me.
Good News Monday.
There we go.
Jeff, tell
us
about
This was a really
baby.
fun one. I feel like this is just kind of the pick-me-up we all need, and I thought it would be great for the podcast listeners. Basically, it's just this baby who's clearly in love with her father, and as he's imitating both Donald Duck and Goofy in this clip, the purity of this baby laugh is just guaranteed to pick up your day. So let's take a look.
Said Goofy. You're surprised this from Mickey.
Oh.
Now who wants to go skating? Giggled Minnie, handing Mickey the box. Wow, inside were shiny new skates. Gee, thanks, Minnie, Mickey said with a big grin. Mickey strapped on his shiny new skates. Come on, everybody.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You know what's amazing about that video is the baby knows he's reading from the book.
Yeah.
And is looking at the book and is just waiting for him to do the Goofy voice and then the giggles. Oh my God, it's so cute.
So cute.
I also found a little article about the science of baby laughter that I thought was really interesting. I'll just read a quick tidbit.
Yeah.
At 4 months of age, infants' laughter most likely is neurologically jump-started by their intense amount of attention toward novelty and salience of the broad social context. So when they see something new or exciting. But within 1 month, babies have enough cognitive sophistication to detect and interpret new, non-threatening social events as funny all by themselves. A few months later, they can produce such events too to make you laugh. So I'll link the article. It's super interesting.
I love babies.
I know.
I can't wait for your babies.
Hurry on up, kids.
Yay.
Let's go. It's time for our Dunkin' break, everybody. I can't believe I forgot to get to it because now my stuff's cold. But today's Dunkin' breakfast baked goods break has brought me a toasted croissant, an English muffin, and a bagel thin, everybody.
Yay!
Let's see which one is which. Okay.
Variety.
I feel like this is the croissant. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, yes. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, man.
That's right. I told him to put some butter on there. Fun
Okay,
fact.
so
I didn't know that. You could tell him to put butter on it. but you can.
Take a bite, Maria, and I'll tell them about that little left turn we took yesterday. So Maria, the Dunkin' stuff comes in, a few minutes, an hour before the show, whatever. So we did some drive-through, Jeff Graham, this weekend. We did a D&D drive-through.
You did.
And I confidently went up to the window and said, "Oh, yes, and I will have 2 orders of your plain bagel bites, please." And out they came, and
oh my God,
hot,
give this to Kevin.
Warm, and oh my goodness. And so Maria was like, "Oh," "Oh my God, this is insane. This is so good."
Yeah, because by the time Kelsey brings them to me, they're cold. I didn't know they'd come out of the oven like that hot. It was like a holy shit moment.
Wow.
And now I told my aunts today when they came to visit my mom, because they were talking about how my one aunt can't eat everything bagels anymore because she has diverticulitis and she can only have plain. I go, "Oh, Thea, you got to get the plain bagel bites." She goes, "What are those?" I'm like, Thea, you're not watching my show? She goes, "I do, but not all the time." I go, you've missed out.
Yeah.
Bagel bites are where it's at. But this English muffin right now, and it's been here for a while, is so good because the butter has like melted in.
I've got the coffee cake muffin.
Oh,
their muffins are really fresh.
Back
They're
in
really
my sugar
good.
days.
Yeah. This is really, really good. And I will say, I can tell it's sugary, but it doesn't feel crazy. Sometimes you go to those fast food, well, not fast food, but, like a gas station muffin. They just taste, something feels wrong about it. Like, it was made with weird ingredients.
Because it's not Dunkin'.
Not Dunkin'. This tastes like just like a great homemade muffin. It's delicious.
I really loved my almond milk latte yesterday. It was really good. It was my second coffee of the day, but it was perfect. It was just a small one, silky smooth.
Nice.
I went on my one little outing. I barely leave this house, but I left to get us snowsuits for the storm.
For the storm.
For the storm.
Storm.
Anyhow, get your favorite breakfast baked goods. They've got blueberry, corn, chocolate chip, and coffee cake muffins. Of course, I love a good old toasted English muffin with butter. But also the bagel thins are great. The toasted croissants. Oh man, the toasted croissant, by the way, especially if you're Greek, you're going to have feta cheese on hand always. No Greek doesn't have feta cheese in their fridge. If you take the toasted croissant that they have, even with the butter, which is actually perfect, and throw a little feta cheese in there, it's
Damn.
It's so holy shit amazing. Anyway, that is our Dunkin' break. Of course, the buttery, flaky croissants are pretty amazing too. So go ahead, order on the Dunkin' app. Of course, you can do that. You can grab a latte along with one of these delicious things, or even the Dunkin' refreshers. I love the Dunkin' refreshers. Those are going to really be really helpful in the summer. I can already tell. And American runs on Dunkin', but so does Better Together.
Woo!
So that is that. Been doing my homework for the Priyanka Chopra episode. Like I told you guys.
I'm excited.
We're going to be talking about her new memoir, Unfinished, and her movie that we watched, of course.
Amazing if you want to watch a good Netflix movie, guys.
Wasn't it so good?
Really good.
They call White Tiger. And we were talking about how, we've been talking recently about how, movies, between the theaters closing, kind of the emergence of TikTok, and then, people loving long form, 12 episode season arcs. I feel like movies are just becoming more and more passé. So it was really refreshing to see a nice 2-hour movie with a great story, great acting. I highly recommend it.
Like, I was in it the whole time.
And you're on the edge of your seat.
Yeah. And I'm a short, I usually like Kevin was saying, my, couple episodes, season, 20-minute long, 40-minute long. This is good.
It was nice.
Good. Really nice.
Really nice to see a good movie. I'm excited to talk to her.
So, Jeff, we are deep on Search Party.
Oh, good.
Search Party's on HBO Max, everybody.
Been around a while.
So good. What do you mean it's been around a while?
It's 4 seasons from here.
No way.
Yes,
Since
TBS had done it.
2016.
Yeah.
It's a 5-year-old show.
And are they still shooting?
So they had shot the 4 seasons right before COVID, but they're going into production for the 5th season. I think
they will.
When they can. So
Good.
They will. It's unbelievable how long.
I want to do a cameo.
I'm telling you, if you're an executive, you've got to hang on with shows because even Schitt's Creek
Oh, my jam.
didn't hit stride till season 4 probably.
I know.
5 even.
You
That's
know?
the weird
Yeah.
thing for advertisers too, because I know even with us, sometimes like people don't consume in that moment.
Right.
Correct.
So you have to be very patient,
Have to be patient today.
even as advertisers now, because people are consuming in a different way.
Yep.
But Search Party has been like our medicine at night, and I keep
glad.
wanting to watch more, but then I'm so tired.
And remember, you still got 90 Day Fiance. How do you go wrong?
Oh, that's yeah.
I gotta
that's
get
the
into
best.
Search Party. I want to get on the train.
I know.
good.
We were
No, we
going
need you
to
on the 90-day train.
we were going to
first.
include her on something, and then you said no, she's going to screw us over. What
Yeah,
was
no. I don't want her on Search Party
Oh,
because
yeah.
then she's going to slow us down.
Yeah,
it's bad
he
enough.
said he's going to.
It's already bad enough when I team up with Maria on something. I can't burn through it because I have to wait for her.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't even. No,
No,
I would slow you down.
And
for
she
sure.
said with Bachelor, she likes the insanity of Bachelor. I'm
Yeah,
like, so if you
see.
love the insanity of Bachelor,
100%.
90 Day Fiance is far more
But
insane.
I think it's like more elevated, and she likes more elevated.
No, she
no,
said she
I like
likes
the
the
ratchet.
shit show.
I like the ratchet.
Then you 90 Day
But see, here's
Fiancé.
my thing. I'm like, if I have no time, when I have a little bit of time, do I watch like a Search Party or a 90 Day? I would typically go for like the search parties.
Oh my God, 90 Day is the first thing I want to watch.
Okay.
I watch
See, I gotta
90 Day
get-
first
Yeah,
because
you're always
it
gonna
is
have the search
so-
parties.
It's such
True.
a great human experiment,
Yeah.
and your jaw is
Okay,
always on the
okay.
ground. And
I want to
listen,
watch with you guys. I'm in. I'm ready.
I think I've re-chiseled it into different forms because it's dropped so many times.
Okay, then I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm
it
in,
always
I'm in.
90 Day.
If you
always,
got a pointy jaw or something, just watch 90 Day Fiance. It'll drop
always-
so many times it'll like chisel it out for you.
Hilarious.
I think especially because so much reality is cooked, meaning it's just set up.
And this isn't.
This
It's-
isn't as
Yeah.
This is I'm sure they have their moments, but you really have a person from another country who wants a green card, and generally an American who wants younger and way more attractive than they normally
Yeah.
would be with, and so that is generally a recipe for disaster.
Well, and here's what I'll say: the little bit I have seen of 90 Day, I feel like it's less epic, but less produced
Incredible.
than The Bachelor. Like Jeff, I don't know if you saw, but our homeboy Dylan Barber went off on The Bachelor. Like,
I saw.
yeah, it was a whole thing, just saying how much it's
Does
produced.
anybody even care about this season, guys?
No.
I have not heard one thing. Not on
But-
Twitter. There's been
but
nothing
that was going to
trending.
be my point. It was like I think everyone's gotten to a point where it's like, okay, God, like eye roll, it's so produced. Like 90 Days,
Mm-hmm.
just like pure reality, like Jersey Shore was. Pure
Says the girl
reality.
who doesn't want to watch it.
I know. Not that I didn't.
What a
I,
contradiction, Kelsey. I'm
never-
disappointed in you.
I never
I'm gonna
said
have to
I.
talk to Deb.
I never said I did not want to watch. Never did
This
I
is
say
true.
that. But
I also think that because of the
Talk to Deb.
the pandemic, I just think listen, even with AfterBuzz, I get a lot of requests. When are we coming back? And it's like, I just am of the belief that people care less right now about that kind of stuff. The
Yeah.
Bachelorette should have been epic. You had the 39-year-old Bachelorette who in the middle, like 3 episodes in, is like, I'm out. I met my love. I'm done. Like, that would have shook the
Remember I
universe
told
3
you guys
years
we're gonna-
ago.
I remember I told you guys what was going to happen.
they
yeah,
broke
right?
up. Yeah.
That's a whole other
Is
thing.
anyone
Yeah.
shocked?
But again, 3
No.
years ago, that would have been at AfterBuzz, Maria.
Oh my God, it would have been the biggest
E.T.
deal,
Everyone
yeah.
would have. It would have
Yeah.
shook the world.
Yeah.
It just kind of came and went now.
Yeah,
so
no
I
one
just,
cared.
I just think with the pandemic, people are into other things, and maybe that's not a bad thing.
Maybe
I
it's not a
agree.
bad thing. Anyway, guys,
Well,
I
we've
gotta
been
go.
reviewing TV. If we want to do a couple podcast reviews, I do have them pulled up, or we could save
Oh
them.
yes,
But,
yes, yes. Let's do that before we go because I got to get upstairs.
I'll
to
just
my
do a
mom.
couple quickies, just because it's a great way to end the show. But as we review TV, you all review our podcast, which we so appreciate. You send us these beautiful 5-star reviews, and we just want to say thanks. We mentioned the reviews at the top; they really are some of the fuel that keeps this show going. We get to see your beautiful words. So I'm going to start with Bree 9876543. She says, "This podcast is life-changing. Started listening to your podcast religiously once COVID started. This podcast has helped me through a tough year, not just because of COVID, but also due to the end of a relationship. I've learned so much about myself thanks to you all, and I'm putting myself first more for the first time. It's validating to know I'm not alone in my thoughts, intuition, and instincts. And I'm crazy. Oh, I just read that so wrong. And I'm not crazy. I'm wise. Good for you, Bree.
Yes,
You guys
Bree.
are awesome. Thank you.
I love it.
Me too.
And then I'm going to read just one more. This is from Randy AF. No, I've read this one. I'm going to read this one from Stella Torelli, who says, My Heel Squad. Better Together with Maria is a wonderful podcast. I started listening in 2020, mainly during my runs, and now it's become a favorite. I feel inspired, lifted up, happy, and I heal. I love the whole
Yes.
crew, Maria, Jeff, and Kelsey, and Kevin too. Kevin. There you go.
They
If you
always
need
say
that
and
feel-good
Kevin too.
podcast, this one is for you. I love it. Amazing.
Thank you guys. Thank you. I
Well,
love
Maria has so many requests for Regular Guy Friday. I can't even keep up with it.
honey.
There
I
actually
can't.
has been some though.
I was at Lazy Boy Recliner today. Oof, did I learn about this stuff that regular guys are going to want to know.
Well, listen, Boo,
I wanna
I'm
know.
happy to give you a spin-off. I want 80% of the profits.
You can have all the profits.
Thanks. Okay,
Can
cool.
regular
But we
guy-
what? Go ahead, please.
No, I was just gonna say I want Regular Guy Friday to also have It's Me, Kelsey, involved in it. Every other week.
You're on the Regular Guy. Because,
No, I know,
Yeah.
but I want that.
When she does it, it makes me laugh so hard because I
Wait,
see
is
the
that the
little
show?
girl.
It's Me, Kelsey.
Honey, that
That's
was
the name
going to
of-
be
so
her
wait,
show
so
on
we-
Nickelodeon.
Okay, so we've got
Disney,
Potluck
please.
Thursday.
Disney, sorry.
We've got Potluck Thursday, Regular Guy Fridays, and Saturday we'll do It's Me, Kelsey.
Wait, can you do it the
wow.
right way?
It's me, Kelsey.
Kelsey. Kelsey wanted to be
I'm
on
Kelsey
Disney.
Meyer, and you're watching Disney Channel.
I love it.
But when she does it, she's so cute because she's like, it's me,
me.
Kelsey.
Kelsey. So I just had to ask.
Totally.
I just want
Can
to
I be on It's Me, Kelsey?
You guys are all welcome.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I need you all.
I want to do the weather.
Oh, Jeff, sorry. No, not you. You're leaving.
Guys, I got to get this
No,
bun out.
I wanna
This
do
bun
the
has
weather.
been on my head for way
I'm gonna
too
do the
long.
weather
It's
on It's
pulling
Me,
my head so
Kelsey.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody care?
I'm
Maria's
sorry.
Let the
bun.
bun
We're
down.
so I know. Let the bun fall down.
Buns are
Okay.
great when you don't want to do your hair. You throw a little gel.
This
Little
is true.
tip, everybody. You throw the gel. And you like squeeze it all up into a ponytail
Yeah.
holder. And then you take the two hair and you split it. And you twirl one side around and you pin it. And you twirl the other one around and you spin it and you pin it.
Wow.
And then boom, you got a bun. And boom, shit looks like you did it like profesh or like it looks a little fancy and stuff.
That's a great tip.
But it hurts your head.
Huh.
Oh
But like
my
the
God.
splitting, I've never heard that.
Yeah, I just kind of created my own little method. I split it in two. I twist one side around and I pin it, and then I twist the other one around and I pin it, and I'm done.
That's awesome.
It takes literally 2 minutes to do this.
I love that.
And then you hairspray everything and you pat it with your hand so that it's like real tight and like soft,
Amazing.
smooth. So
Thank you,
there's my
Maria.
hair tip for the day.
Fabulous.
Hmm
Thank you.
Guys, love you all. Our Heal Squad. Thank you for being with us. Join us on Instagram. Kelsey is very close to 10,000. She's
So close.
very excited to get that check mark, and then we can do the really cool swipe up. So if you could follow us on Better Together with Maria, you'd be doing us a huge favor, and yourself, because Kelsey's going to be continuing along with Mr. Hawaii to
Mr. Aloha.
populate that page with
it.
things that are going to help you in your life and the tools that you need. Tomorrow we're going to have actress, singer, producer, author, and activist Priyanka Chopra on to talk about her book, Unfinished, of course, her movie. I really loved the back of her book where she realizes, she's like, I realized I was different and I was going to embrace my unicornness and just go for it. And I was like, damn, like she's got a really interesting story that I didn't expect as I've been reading her book.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I think you guys are going to too. So follow us at Better Together with Maria, at Jeffrey Crane Graham, at Kelsmeyer 2. And remember, be nice people, make good choices, and be present.